the questions to keep myself aligned. Waste away the hours doing what I should, knowing that my soul tells me it's not for my own good.
All right, so let's just get started. So we're going to talk about the fifth phase of intention, which is expansion. The fifth phase of intention is expansion. So our nature is to seek more and more and to express ourselves. So, the more we have, the more we want. But we're always looking. We're looking for something. I was drilling something yesterday and I actually drilled through my finger. That really hurts. So our nature is to express ourselves. Our nature is to seek more and more. But what are we seeking more and more of? But we're going to talk about that in a sec. But we're going to stick with expansion and the fifth phase of intention for right now. The universe and the power of intention are constantly expanding. So the universe is constantly in movement and it's constantly expanding. It's constantly growing. And that is why the fifth phase of intention is about expansion. Our spirit has the principle of increase, meaning life continues to expand just to experience more life, right? We want to experience life. All right. So spirit is constantly expanding. But the really cool thing about that is that expansion, that constant movement, that expansion, that growing, well, energy is inside us. So we also have that principle within us of constant expansion and growth. Okay. So since source is always in a state of increased expression, then that must be true for us as well. All right. We must also be expanding and growing, as I just said. So we're not talking about ego. I'm not talking about, I want that big car. I want that big house. That's not what I'm talking about. Good morning, Chelsea. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about wanting, we always, we can have all of those things and still feel like we're still not living on purpose. We still feel like we are not living our path. We are still living small internally because we are not allowing ourselves to be like universe, like source, and constantly grow and expand. So it is my intention. Here's an intention for you. So it is my intention to express the genius that I am. It is my intention to express the genius that I am. Think about this for a second, one more second. To me, this is amazing, right? So when you think about it, it's like, okay, so if I have source, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever you want to call that higher energy, if I have that running through every cell of my being, and if we are all connected, right? Since we're all connected and I have this energy flowing through every fiber of me, it makes up who I am. Then, and, we talked about in the last one in beauty, how our body weakens and strengthens based on what's false and what's true in our body. So if I sit with what's true and I can connect with my inner wisdom that created this universe, then what don't I know? What don't I know? I have access to all information. That makes us all geniuses because it's not just me that has that. We all do, right? So we are all geniuses. We are all like source, okay? So that, to me, is like when you really actually sit down and think about that for a second and not just hear the words, but really just think about what does that mean? That is massive, right? That is just huge. So I love that. That's great. And we were all born as geniuses, all of us. But we chose. When we were born, we were geniuses. When we chose to de-genius ourselves. We chose to kick ourselves around instead. We chose to say, I don't know how to do that. I don't know why my life is like this. I don't know why I'm spinning out of control. We chose to de-genius ourselves. Good morning, Alyssa, Joanne, Lindsay. Thanks for joining in. So since we were all born as geniuses because we were born from a genius, right? Let's think about it. I mean, this source created this universe, right? So how is it not a genius? And it runs through every cell of our body. So we are also geniuses, right? We just think we're not, okay? So we feel that we are not worthy to be geniuses, or we weren't born with that personality trait, or it's something that somebody else has and I don't have, right? How is that even true? Good morning, Amy. How is that even true? Right? Whatever source is, we are. Whatever source is, we are. We are also that. We just are so caught up in the limited part of us, which is this body. Okay? But this body actually has the ability to do a lot of things as well. Let me just think about it. I'm sitting like this and I feel like I'm sitting still, right? I feel like I'm sitting still. But am I? I mean, think about it. This planet is hurling through the universe right now. Well, not through the universe, but through this, like it's hurling in space right now. It's spinning. It's orbiting the sun. How are we sitting still? Right? We are in constant movement, right? We are in constant movement, which is, we forget. We make ourselves so small and we don't understand what is happening out there, right? We don't allow ourselves to absorb what is really going on out there, right? What we really are. So we think we're sitting still. The universe is in constant state of increase and expansion and movement. So then, instead of sitting still, we too should decide in our lives to be in a state of increased growth and expression, right? Depression is not possible. Depression is not possible when you are inspired, when you are in spirit, okay? Depression is not possible. All right? So you have to feel that energy. We don't have to. It's a choice that you make. So you have to sort of feel yourself connected. Get enthusiasm. Let this enthusiasm take over. So entheos is the Greek word for the God within. Enthusiasm. So entheos is a Greek word for the God within. So let that enthusiasm take over. And if you can allow that enthusiasm to take over, and if you can express, and if you can be inspired in spirit, then it's not possible. Depression is not possible. Okay? So you can't be enthusiastic and depressed at the same time. It's just not possible. Okay? So everything is energy, and we live in a universe of attraction, and genius is nothing more than the ability to attract these higher patterns of energy. So genius is nothing more than the ability to attract these higher patterns of energy. So we are all geniuses. Good morning, Tammy Lynn. It's not a personality characteristic. Joanne is a genius and I'm not. Amy is a genius and I'm not. Amy is beautiful and I'm not. Amy has love in her life and I don't. These are the types of things that we say, but they are not true. We are choosing to stand with ego when we say these things about ourselves that are not true. Okay? So when we talked yesterday, when we say these falsehoods to ourselves, our body will react to that. All right? Think about, again, I keep coming back to clients that I have when they have fibromyalgia, when they're that bad in themselves, what has this person who is an amazing genius created? Okay, you get small. They see themselves like in fetal positions in a bed. They shrivel up. Okay, they lose their life, and they keep saying they keep saying over and over, it's going to get worse, it's going to get worse, it's going to get worse, because they believe the things that are being told with them. But what they're doing is they're manifesting that energy to get worse and worse and worse in their body, that their body to become worse and worse and worse. So kind of genius, just working in the wrong way, right? Because they are making themselves that sick, that ill, okay, that much in dis-ease. So universal characteristics of genius is being humble, humility, knowing that. So I've always said, if you've watched previous videos, I hate it when people hate it. Hate's a kind of a strong word. I don't really like it. It doesn't resonate with me. That's better. It doesn't resonate with me when people call me a healer. All right. I call myself a facilitator. I call myself a navigator. I call myself like I'm guiding people through their healing. I am only a channel for what's happening, for the energy to work, okay, for the knowledge that I get downloaded to work, to learn the things that I know, because energy already knows all these things, all right? Energy already knows all these things, and I open myself up to this knowledge, okay? So energy already knows this, and that's why I can hear the messages. That's why I know what to do next, okay, with my clients, because I am able to connect to that genius. All right. I'm able to connect to that genius. But I don't say that it's me, right? I don't say that it's this body that is the genius, that I was born with this and you are not, right? I understand that this is coming from a higher place. Okay. I understand that. I'm not saying that I sit here and go, okay, what do I do next with this client? That is not what happens. But I work in unison as a team, because the information is there and I get it and I do what I have to do. All right. So, and the person who is healing is the client. Okay. I'm not waving some magic wand going, poof, you're cured. It doesn't happen that way. Right. I use a lot of methods and a lot of different techniques to get them there. Right. But I'm also, as we all are, gifted in getting the information that is already in there, that I already have access to, okay? So an extreme state of non-expansion is depression, worry, and anxiety. An extreme state of non-expansion. Remember when I said when people are in pain, we close up, we tighten up, right? Well, this is what happens. What's the first thing that happens in your body when you are angry or when you are worried or when you are in pain? We tighten, okay? So, one of the things I teach people is how to loosen up. Okay. So that is a body hypnosis technique that I use, but we need to relax. Depression, worry, anxiety it's all about non-expansion. All right. You are a masterpiece of source. Has anyone ever called you a masterpiece? You are a masterpiece. Each and every single one of you is a masterpiece. Right? That just like, how's that for a compliment? Joanne, you are a masterpiece. Chelsea, you are a masterpiece. Amy, you are a masterpiece. So there's something you don't hear every day, but we are. Okay, each one of us is a masterpiece. And we have this amazing ability that is this distribution of this amazing genius within us, which is awesome. Don't have to prove you are a genius and have a gift to offer to the world. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, right? That's another thing. If you're trying to prove stuff, then that's ego, right? You don't have to prove anything. You just have to do. You just have to do what you do and do it in a way that is good for you, that is feeling connected, that is good for others, right? You don't have to prove to anyone what you do, all right? Begin to listen more carefully to your inner wisdom. If you can listen to that genius within you, how can you not be a genius, right? How can you not be a genius? So it's those of us who choose to not listen. Good morning, Brandon. It's those of us that choose to not listen. Right? We hear the voice. How many times have you made a decision in your life and it went really bad? Okay, like maybe you should have left some person, or maybe you shouldn't have taken that job or moved to that town or something. You made a choice in your life to do something. All right. And you knew when you made the choice, it was not a good choice. All right. You knew that. Some part of you already knew that. All right. So when that part of you already knew that, then what happens is after shit hits the fan, so to speak, all right, after some, it didn't work, or you got to quit that job, or you got to leave that relationship or whatever, and all this drama happens in between, or you need to like move back from that town and go somewhere else, or whatever decision that you made, there was some part of you that said, you know what, I knew I shouldn't have done this. How many of you have had that moment, right? I knew I shouldn't have done this. I knew it. Why didn't I just listen to myself? Right? I've had those moments. I am sure that you've had those moments. So that moment where you already knew that, but you didn't listen because it's not loud like the voice in your head, because you didn't listen, shit hit the fan. But had you have listened, oh my God, right? You would have saved yourself a crap load of drama, because the end result is you're going to have to do what that voice said in the end anyway. That's going to happen. But you would have saved yourself a crap load of drama in between, of feeling bad in between, right? So if, that's going to be the end result anyway, right? So why don't you just listen and save yourself a lot of shit, right? So that's really what you're going to be saving yourself. So the one thing that I want to say to you guys is, first of all, I want to thank Joanne. I didn't get a chance to do it before. I keep forgetting at the end, and I don't know why I forget, but you have to apologize. I have to apologize for that. She sent me some wonderful, wonderful voice messages the other day of appreciation and gratitude, and how what I'm talking about is really resonating at this time in her life. And I want to thank you for those, because honestly, they really made me smile. They made me feel good. And I just felt like, okay, so I come on here every morning and I get a handful of people that are joining me, and I won't stop. I'm still going to come up. Some people do these lives and they get like 7,000 people join in, but that's okay, because to me, not everybody's ready to hear a message. And if they are ready to hear a message, then they'll be here. Right. So it's going to be what it's going to be. And, but that meant a lot to me. You touched my heart. Thank you very much for that. Have a great day, everyone. And coming up, the lives coming up for the next few weeks are going to be like, I am going to be on quite often. Even while I'm driving, I've got this whole setup going on so that I can do it without being distracted. And I'm going to be doing some great stuff on CBD. I'm going to be doing some great stuff, just continuing to bring you these messages. And we are going to start a 60-day, after we finish these last two phases of intention, we are going to start a 60-day cycle of empowerment. So every single day we are going to do something or talk about something that's going to be very empowering and enlightening for you. Some words of wisdom every single day. And if you want to follow along with it, I'm actually going to use another one of Wayne Dyer's books, The Wisdom of the Ages. Okay, so we're going to be working with that book. And just really going through his essays and stuff, and just every day he's got 60 different essays in that book, and every single day we are going to talk about one of those essays, which is super cool. So if you want to follow along with that, you can get the book, or you can just, I'm going to do all the reading and just sort of give it to you in Cole's notes, and the best pieces, the juiciest pieces that resonated with me. We're going to talk about that. So have a fantastic day. Again, love yourself. Understand the beauty around you. When you look at yourself in the mirror, don't look at what's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay? Look at your beauty. See your beauty. Love your eyes, love your nose, love your lips, love your hair, love your everything about you. And focus on those things. Focus on your beauty. Be kind to yourself. Be loving to yourself. You know, find creative ways to grow, to expand, right? So these are the things that we need to do in our lives every single day to be better and better. And every time you have a moment in your life that you don't feel great, you know, just shake it off, throw your shoulders back, smile, and say, I feel good. And feeling good is feeling God. And I don't want you guys to think like when you're listening to this that I am, and I keep saying that, you know, when people just happen to jump in and I get comments sent to my thing, I'm not preaching religion here because I am not a religious person. I do believe, you know, I am a reverend and of spirituality. I am an ordained reverend. I don't know how many of you know that. I am an ordained reverend of spirituality. However, it's about spirituality. It's not about religion. I'm talking about the universe. I'm talking about source. I'm talking about what we are. I'm talking about quantum physics. I'm talking about things that have been proven. Okay. So I'm not talking about, you know, what's in another book. Okay. And what someone's interpretation or perception is, and giving us limits of what we can and can't do. And we have to do this to be in this religion. And we can only do that to be in that religion. And life is not about that. Life is about choices. It's about expanding. It's about growing. And so I'm not a religious person in that state, but I do 100% with all of my heart know that there is something bigger and amazing out there that created us, and it is running through every one of us. And we are geniuses, and we are beautiful, and we are full of love, and we have the capacity for huge kindness and creativity. So that's where I'm going with this stuff. All right. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Have a great morning, and I love you all. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Look at my reflection in the mirror. I see that is not the person who lives inside of me. Done with all the fear and doubts, the negativity. I'm shedding all the crap right now. I'm stepping in.